in general, if you are a wrestler right now and you're relatively happy, you may not be making as much money as humanly possible, but you're happy. You're working a schedule, you're working with people, and you're happy. You may not.
You're happy, I believe.
Well, you may not be on a WrestleMania stage right now, but you're happy. And you get the call, the chance to possibly come back to WWE. Do you think twice because of the rumors of Vince trying to come back?
No, because there's been rumors that Vince has said he wants to come back. There have not been any rumors of anybody saying they're going to help him. And there's not been any rumors of anybody. Well,
why do you think Bruce is still there?
Hold on, cowboy. What's he gonna? Maybe he can unlock the window at Titan Tower or sneak him up the back stairs, or put him on the roof garden and let him have a goddamn laptop up there where nobody will see him. But no, Bruce does not have the power to do. Well, Vince wants to come back, so here he is. He may be an information mole, but no, nobody wants Vince back. Unfortunately for Vince, apparently nobody is being quoted as saying that's a good idea, or is looking for that to happen, or is wishing for it to happen, except for Vince, apparently. And that could be sad. And we've talked about this. What happens? He's like, I've said before, there's tons of Trump in him. Vince is an articulate, intelligent Trump in a lot of ways. If he decides he wants to come back, it's going to be brutal, and a lot of feelings are going to be hurt, but it would be either, I think at this point, Vince and a mass resignation, or just Vince just be mad.
Well, again, there's no mass resignation right now, and he's still the majority owner with the majority voting power. So it's still his company as well as the public's.
Yes, but if he was to try to come back publicly, and that would, it damaged the stock went down $1 just when they reported he told people he wanted to come back. They can't. I don't see how they can make that announcement. I don't see how they can spin that. If they did, it would just be disastrous if they did.
I wonder if there's anything that prohibits Vince from starting his own wrestling company while he's still the majority shareholder, contractually, as an executive of this public company. Like, Walt Disney was able to do a lot of things while his brother ran the company. He kind of funded the theme parks on his own through the deal he made with ABC Television and various other things. Disneyland was developed outside of the Walt Disney Company.
Yeah. So
is there a chance that Vince could do that?
Without knowing what the paperwork is like, that's a interesting question, because he's had to resign from the board. If he's just a stockholder, even the majority stockholder, would there be any documents that he would have had to have signed or would have signed that live past him resigning as an active chairman of the board or employee of the company or whatever, that would prohibit him from investing in anything else he wants to invest in? He made it clear that he was using, allegedly, he made it clear, whether it's true or not, we don't know, that he was funding and using his own money for the XFL when he was going to do that because they didn't want it to hurt the stock price of the WWE. But he can still he can invest, one would think, in whatever the fuck he wants to. And he would have never have done it before, and nobody would have ever considered him doing it, because he would have been running opposition against himself. But now that technically would be the case, but maybe not the way he'd feel about it personally.
Because it is the world of wrestling, and sadly, bad deeds and bad things largely go unpunished in the general scheme of things in society.
Only good deeds are punished. Only good deeds are punished. Bad deeds do go unpunished.
So Vince McMahon, if he waits this out a little bit longer, and apparently that's what he thinks the problem was, that he listened to people and he left too early and he didn't fight. And he did this, and he said, you know what? I'm either going to sell some of my shares and use that money, or I'm going to keep all my shares and just get financing. And I'll hire away Kevin Dunn, and I'll hire away Bruce. I'm serious. And I'll get some people that I want to work with, and we'll start our own thing, whether it's USA Network or Fox or a network they don't have a current relationship with. Do you think anyone would take that call, take that meeting? Vince McMahon is starting up a new wrestling company, has serious financing, and he's looking for a television home.
Well, I don't know that USA or Fox would take the call because of the existing agreements they have, and also the publicity that Vince got wouldn't do their programs any good. They would probably be happier with the arrangement the way it is. But a secondary network or broadcasting outlet, whatever, who maybe had not been interested in wrestling before just because they didn't want minor league or secondary or whatever, but Vince's name would...
Vince and Shane.
Oh, Vince and Shane, Vince's name, and Shane obviously, would be a personality that everybody would know, but Vince's name would get some, I would think, attention amongst cable outlets or networks that maybe aren't doing as well as they think they might, because that would get a ton of attention, that would get a ton of publicity. It may sway someone to be interested in not in wrestling, but in Vince McMahon's wrestling. So that, and then it becomes just, does he have time at this point at 77 years old? Does he have time to put it together and get it out there? And would he want to do? He's got the energy, one would think, because he never wants to do anything else but work. But it'd get a lot of attention from a lot of people that wouldn't touch a wrestling program from anybody else just because of who he is.
Does he still have the same energy for work? He's now had a good amount of time where he hasn't been the Vince McMahon of old. Whether or not he's on the phone with people or not, he hasn't been able to function the way he always did. So it's a different pace. It's a different way of working. Do you think he could ever go back, especially at his age, that he could ever go back to what he was just a few years ago?
I guarantee you he believes he can, and he wouldn't be rumored to be saying this if he wasn't thinking, well, golly, I've got my milk of magnesia at 9 a.m., and then there's the colon cleansing. No, he's still in the shape he was fucking 6 or 9 months ago, for good or bad. And he was running the WWE.
And he has almost the perfect defense too. And not that there's any defense for what he's alleged to have done, but when they say, how could people support this with all these accusations against you? He could just say, well, you support WWE, I'm still the majority shareholder there.
Yeah.
If you support that, why not support this?
He should claim it was the evil Mr. McMahon. It wasn't Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon's penis is not nearly as long as the picture that he showed the person of the evil Mr. McMahon's penis. It worked for Hulk. He won that case.
What do you think of the theory that Vince McMahon may be Uncle Howdy?
Boy, wouldn't that be something? If only Bruce and Kevin Dunn knew, and the fucking hat comes off and it's Vince. And it was me all along. But he's got a few extra wrinkles if that's Captain Howdy.
Uncle Howdy.
Uncle Howdy, Captain Boy Howdy. I don't know. Howdy. It's going to be Minnie Pearl. It's going to be Minnie Pearl is really under that mask.